Have you planted hostas, or other plants for that matter, only to find them gone and not really knowing why, or finding all the leaves laying on the ground, picking them up, and there's no roots? The problem is moles and voles. Once I figured that out, I was able to devise a way to protect my plants in the ground. So this first specimen is a honeybells. The voles love this one. And what I have done to protect this is I put it in a basket. And you can see down here, there is sticking a little bit above the ground. They haven't been able to get into that. They also seem to like my guacamole hosta, which is this one at the end. And they have been able to get into this only because I haven't done fall cleanup. And I believe what they've done is climb up on one of the dead leaves, and they climb down into the center, and they just devour the plant. For years, I have not been able to grow echinaceas because of the same problem. I'd plant them, the next year they would never come up, never knew why. There was no evidence that a plant was in the ground. So I started putting them again in baskets. As you can see, this one here. And these have stayed with me for years. I will say you want to put the basket towards, leave some of it up. You can see this one, it's at the edge. The voles have been digging here, trying to get in. So I do have to readjust the baskets once in a while. I just ordered a couple hostas from New Hampshire hostas. I got one plug and another one that was in a 4.5-inch pot. I like getting the plugs. They're really cheap and they grow pretty well by the next year. What I use to make my baskets from is a hardwire cloth. I ordered this off of Amazon. You can get it at Home Depot and Lowe's. I have had difficulty in the past finding it there. I've picked it up a couple times and then they don't have any more. Always get it covered with a, I guess it's like a vinyl cover, a vinyl coating. I have used chicken wire, and the chicken wire ends up disintegrating, rusts, breaks apart. The voles can get through that. Your hardwire cloth, they're not going to get through. So it comes as a tube or a roll, and it's wound up with wire around it, and you have to kind of take that off. What I do is I save it for something else. Sometimes I do have to kind of sew the baskets together, so I will save this in case I need it at another time. And what I need to do today is I need to make 3 baskets. So I count up these squares. Each one is a 1/2 inch. I make my baskets 16 of the squares long. So I count out 16 squares. I use my wire clippers and I clip around for each bottom of the basket. So just get your wire clippers, start clipping. I've done already quite a bit of it. You just clip around. Today I need to make 3 baskets. I have 2 hostas I'm going to put in the ground and a small fern. So I got to get 3 baskets clipped. I make different size baskets today because one of them is a plug and the other one is a 4.5-inch pot. My baskets are going to be 35 around. So what I will do is I will count these squares to 35. Make a little basket, and that will be my basket for this plant. Sometimes I will use one that's 50 squares around. Today I only want small ones because they're small plants. So I have 3 ready to be made into baskets. I leave the bottom empty. I don't worry about the bottom of the basket. But what I do once I have these clipped is I always make sure I have some end like this, and I will start folding them over. It does help if you are using garden gloves. It makes it a little bit easier. And I fold all these over. Once they're folded over, what I do is I will take and I will hook them in this side, hook them in like so, and then I will fold them under to make it a tight basket. I hope you can see what I'm doing here. I put my hand in. I use the wire clippers. It is kind of hard to bend, but I just fold them down. That one kind of broke. And I just fold them so that they hold the basket together. Because once in the ground, I don't want it splitting apart because I am afraid the voles will find the opening and they'll get in. So here is where sometimes I have had to stitch these two sides together. And that is when I will take this wire and that I've unwrapped the roll from and use it kind of as thread to stitch these two sides together. And here I have one basket ready to go. It's a basket that I can use. My plug will fit in nicely, or the 4-inch pot fits in nicely. If I have a bigger pot that I'm using, I will make a bigger basket. What I like, the holes are open, so as the plant gets bigger, they just grow through the holes. Here are 3 baskets ready to roll, ready to be put into the ground. What I do sometimes, depending upon the size of the hosta, the few I'm putting in today, they're quite large. I think they're giant hostas. Sometimes the small ones I will put in pots. These guys have been in for a couple of years. This one is Mighty Mouse. This one is one of my favorites. It's called Curly Fries. I have this guy in a large pot in the garden. That one is Shasta. The corabels, I did not think voles would like the corabels, but they do love them. I was able to catch them in time. Again, they had eaten a lot of the root. I found it just in time. Get a basket, dig them out, put them in the basket, and my corabels are thriving really nicely. This guy here, he's quite large. He is in chicken wire. He is the only one that has successfully lasted in chicken wire. When I split it, I will probably take it out and make baskets for it. I decided to make a few more baskets. Out of that roll, I can get 9 baskets. The ones I made are a little bit larger. You can see this one compared to these are smaller. I'm going to use the larger ones today. I am going to buy some plants this weekend. They'll probably be a little smaller, not hostas, and they're going to go in the smaller baskets. It's here. This guy's going to come out next year to a different garden bed. I have another basket over there. You can kind of see that one. They don't seem to touch the daylilies. So daylilies are one that I don't put in baskets. So what we want to do is get your hole dug. I've dug this hole already. I'm going to put it back here in the corner. I'm not worrying really too much where I'm going to plant them. Next year I will transplant them, move them around, redesign the garden. It's August 1st. I'm not too worried. I just want to get them in the ground so they get growing some. So I dug my hole, put the basket in. I want to make sure the basket sticks a little bit above the ground. I might put it up a little bit higher, but once I put the dirt in, I can move it around. So you can see I filled in the dirt. The plant that's going to go in here is Cosa Royal, and I put that in. I might have to take a little bit of dirt out to put that in the ground, and I'll just put that in, fill it in with dirt, and show you the end product. So Cosa Royal is in the ground. You can see its basket is above the ground. The voles can't get to it. And hopefully we can thwart them, and Cosa Royal will be with us for a long time. The last hosta that's going in the ground is called Dreamweaver. It's a plug, so it's very tiny. It is supposed to be a giant or jumbo hosta. Online, I've read where it can go to 24, 30 inches tall. Its little tag says 18 inches. I'm going to put it towards the back of my garden. The hole is already dug for it. If it doesn't get that tall, I'll move it a little bit closer to the front and get something else jumbo to put behind it. Dreamweaver is in the ground. Another reason I like plugs, they're very cheap. And if the voles do get them, I didn't lose $25 on a plant. Shasta is one they seem to avoid for some reason. don't know why they stay away from that one. But you can see there's a basket with Shasta in the center, but then it's also come outside of the basket. Here, over here, there's some over here that are outside of the basket. And here's the basket with a couple in there. They don't seem to bother Shasta, so I'll leave that one alone. They don't seem to bother the ferns either. You can see here this fern, I believe this is a Christmas fern, and it's next to Wee. And I'm getting, you can tell they were around. There's a little hole right here, if you can see it. I can put my finger in. They've been trying to get down here. And, well, I do have Christmas fern in a basket, but they've been trying. And I would just advise, make sure you go around, check your plants, make sure that the baskets are not too low to the ground. Check them every once in a while.